I don't think you can strictly rely on the draft. I mean, look at for every Jamar Chase or, fill in the blank rookie who's played really well, there's 2 or 3 first-round picks that take time to develop. The Browns don't really have time to develop a number one receiver. They got to go out and get one. And that's going to cost, 15, 17, $18 million. So let's look at some of the free agent wide receivers, assuming you could get, and obviously every time I see this, we kind of say, well, Odell Beckham Jr. ain't coming back and Devontae Adams probably isn't coming back. But say Chris Godwin's healthy. Would you give him $18 million for a year for 4 or 5 years? And if Jarvis, in fact, is gone, it's what? You got to pay an extra $3 or $4 million a year?
Right.
That's the way you got to look at it.
You know what? I would love Godwin. And I would say this, too, because he's that perfect kind of blend that Andrew Berry loves to look at. And that's the age, it's the production, and on top of that, it's the fit in the offense. And, I think that he's somebody who can be that number one for you. Another guy that I really like on that list, and, it's somebody that I've wanted to have in Cleveland for quite some time. And not just because of his last name, but Allen Robinson. I love Allen Robinson, and please, God, give him a something better than a mediocre quarterback, please. Because you look at his history between Christian Hackenberg in college, then Blake Bortles, then he had Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, finally got a decent quarterback in Justin Fields this year, but he's a rookie, so he takes time. So I would love to see him in Cleveland. And one under the radar name that I actually really like and was looking at before he got hurt as well was Michael Gallup. And I really love what he's able to do in Dallas. And if the Browns are able to bring him in, he's somebody that I really like as well as that guy who can be that deep threat option. So, I look at those guys to possibly bring in. But like you said, with the Devontae Adams side of it, Devontae Adams, in my opinion, he's either franchise tagged and going back to Green Bay, or he could be going to someplace like Denver or Vegas. I don't know. But I don't think it's here in Cleveland. But Chris Godwin would be that interesting type of player. I just think that when it comes to the injuries, I don't know. And on top of that, too, I also don't know what's going to happen with Tom Brady. And so if Tom Brady comes back, it wouldn't shock me if he just takes a 1-year deal in Tampa and then say, let's just go ahead and run it back and see what we can do. So if the Browns were able to bring in Chris Godwin, I'm going to be over the moon because, Dave, I'm with you. I don't think that it's just the draft that you can assess this position because, hell, look at the 2020 draft. The Philadelphia Eagles, after being leapfrogged by the Dallas Cowboys for CeeDee Lamb, they end up getting Jalen Reagor, and then the following pick is Justin Jefferson. So, they get stuck with the 1 out of the 3. So, I don't think it's an exact science, and I think that there's a lot of talented guys in this draft. But at the same time, I do think that, you have to address this in multiple ways. And I think that Andrew Berry has shown the last 2 seasons that he'll at least get you an option or two in free agency that can handle the load. And if they can get a wide receiver, I do think that they can bring one in the drafts, but I would say they at least bring in one guy in free agency.
Yeah, the thing that you have to look at is they really need to upgrade the wide receiver position. Now, I know Jarvis wasn't healthy; he's playing on 1.5 legs with the MCL injury. But Baker Mayfield's 5th season, you have to give him weapons, and your quarterback, Baker Mayfield, is the kind of guy that's going to bitch or whoever it is. You don't have time to watch a number one receiver, rookie wide receiver develop. You just don't. They have to be ready to go, and they have to be threatening defenses day one.
Yeah, no, and you're spot on. And that's why, again, I think that it takes at least bringing in one of these veteran threats. And on top of that, too, if you bring in one of these guys, they can go ahead, they can mentor one of these guys coming out. They can mentor, a Treylon Burks, or they can mentor, a Garrett Wilson or one of these guys as well. And, even, too, it wouldn't shock me if they double dip in the draft as well, where, you might have somebody early on, but then you also can get somebody like John Mechie from Alabama a little bit later on as well, who's also, dealing with an injury. But that's also why, again, it comes down to the right receiver too. And this is where, I kind of lean on what happened with the Cavs so far this year. It's not about getting the most talented player. It's about getting the right fit for your team. And that's where, I think that the Browns need to really hone in on this offseason is getting the right fit, not only on the field, but also off the field. And so that's where I look at somebody like Allen Robinson, who has that kind of talent. talent and is still young enough to where he can give you that production. So I think that he's somebody I would love to see them bring in. And even, like I said, a Michael Gallup or hell, even a Russell Gage, who's somebody who, towards the end of last season, really performed well for Atlanta. And I think could be somebody who could be an under the radar free agent.